Let me ask you something. Have you ever sat quietly in a room, watching others dominate conversations, lead groups, take risks, and thought to yourself, if only I were like them? I used to think the same way. I was the quiet one, the one who listened more than spoke, the one who knew deep down I was smart, I was capable, but no one could see it because I never showed it. But here's the truth. Being an introvert is not a weakness. It's a hidden superpower. The only problem? No one teaches you how to activate it. Most people will never know what you're truly capable of. They'll see your silence and mistake it for fear. They'll see your calmness and think it's weakness. But if you stay with me till the end of this video, I'll show you the exact brain trick that flips the switch, that turns quiet thinkers like you into undeniable forces of genius and power. But I need to warn you, this video isn't for people who are comfortable living an average life. If you're happy being ignored, underestimated, or overlooked, then go ahead. Stop the video. Stay average. But if there's even a small part of you that's sick of being the best kept secret in the room, then lock your door, block out the noise, and get ready to transform. Because I promise you, once you learn these 11 brain shifts, you will never see yourself the same again. Number 1, embrace strategic solitude. For the longest time, I misunderstood what it meant to be alone. I saw solitude as a punishment, something that happened when I wasn't good enough to be included, liked, or seen. When I was by myself, my thoughts used to spiral, doubts, regrets, comparisons, anxiety. So naturally, I avoided silence. I filled every moment with noise, social media, background music, endless conversations that went nowhere. But then I learned something that completely flipped my perspective. The most brilliant minds in history, Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, Isaac Newton, even modern-day visionaries like Elon Musk and Steve Jobs, weren't afraid of solitude. They sought it out. They didn't treat silence as something to run from. They saw it as a sacred space. And here's why. When you're alone, the world finally quiets down. You stop reacting and start creating. You begin to hear the thoughts that get drowned out in everyday chaos. Those thoughts, the ones you only hear in silence, are often the seeds of your genius. When you're constantly around others, even if you don't realize it, your mind is adapting, responding, absorbing energy, opinions, and distractions of the outside world. But when you're alone, that's when your true voice emerges. That's where you develop original thinking, process deep emotions, and access levels of clarity most people never reach. Strategic solitude is not about isolation or withdrawal. It's about intentionally stepping away from the noise so you can reconnect with your highest self. So if you've been avoiding time alone, I urge you, don't. Embrace it, schedule it, protect it like gold. Because your next breakthrough won't come from more noise. It will come from the silence you've been avoiding. Number 2, rewire self-talk from doubt to power. Have you ever stopped to really listen to the voice in your head? The one that speaks when you're about to try something bold or when you make a mistake? For most people, including me for years, that voice is cruel. It's the first to criticize, the last to encourage. It says things like, you're not ready. They're better than you. You always mess things up. And here's the terrifying part. You start to believe it. That voice becomes your reality. But what if I told you that voice isn't you? It's a script written by your past experiences, failures, fears, and the opinions of people who probably didn't even understand you. And just like any script, it can be rewritten. I started changing my self-talk deliberately. When the voice said, "You're not smart enough," I replaced it with, "You're still learning, and that's your advantage." When it said, "You don't belong here," I said back, "You bring something they don't, depth, strategy, and awareness." It felt strange at first, like I was lying to myself, but slowly, the repetition started to change my internal reality. I wasn't pretending, I was reprogramming. Think of it this way, you are your own coach, and the words you speak to yourself daily either train you to win or to quit. Why not be the kind of coach who fuels belief instead of doubt? One that says, you've overcome worse, you're learning, you're focused, and when you move, it's with precision and power. Because here's the truth. If you keep waiting for others to affirm you, you'll stay stuck. But if you learn to affirm yourself, you become unstoppable. Number 3, convert overthinking into mental models. If you're an introvert like me, you know the pain of an overactive mind. You think, and then think about the fact that you're thinking so much. You replay conversations from last week. You imagine scenarios that may never happen. You prepare for 10 different outcomes, none of which actually occur. And for a long time, I saw that as a flaw, like something was wrong with me for thinking too much. But then I realized something profound. Overthinking isn't a curse. It's untrained intelligence. Your brain isn't broken. It's powerful. It just needs a system to channel that power. That's where mental models come in. Mental models are simply ways of organizing your thinking so it leads to clarity, not confusion. For example, instead of spiraling over a decision, I started using the inversion model. I'd ask, what's the worst possible outcome here and how can I avoid it? That alone cut my anxiety in half. Another simple one is the if-then strategy. If I feel overwhelmed during a meeting, then I'll ask one clear question to regain control. If I'm overthinking at night, then I'll write my thoughts down instead of letting them circle endlessly. By creating these structures, I wasn't thinking less, I was thinking better. I wasn't suppressing my thoughts, I was organizing them in ways that helped me move forward. Overthinking becomes your superpower when you give it form, discipline, and direction. Don't fight your mind, train it. Number 4, master the power pause. There was a time I thought that to earn respect in a room, I had to talk faster, louder, and more often. I believed that being quick with my words would make me sound smart, and if I wasn't constantly adding to the conversation, people would forget I was even there. But over time, I learned something completely counterintuitive. The most powerful people in any room don't speak the most. They speak deliberately. And the most powerful speakers I've seen all have one thing in common. They know how to pause. A well-timed pause does something remarkable. It creates space. And in that space, people lean in. They pay attention. Your words don't get lost, they land. I started applying this in real life. Before responding in meetings, I'd take a breath. Before answering a question in a conversation, I'd allow one beat of silence. At first, it felt awkward, like I was hesitating or unsure. But soon I saw the impact. People waited for me to speak. They respected what I said more because I wasn't rushing to be heard. I was speaking from composure. A pause signals power. It tells people, I'm not reacting, I'm thinking. And when I speak, it matters. You don't need to dominate a room with volume, you dominate it with presence. And presence is born in the pause. Number 5, use your energy like a sniper, not a machine gun. Every day, you wake up with a limited supply of energy. It's like having a set number of arrows in your quiver or bullets in your chamber. The problem is, most people spray that energy everywhere, trying to please everyone, be everywhere, and do everything. That's what I used to do. I said yes to every request, jumped into every conversation, and felt exhausted by noon. Until I realized something life-changing. It's not about how much energy you have. It's about how precisely you use it. Extroverts might thrive by spreading their energy wide, but as an introvert or someone who values depth, you have a secret weapon: focus. I started treating my energy like a sniper. Instead of engaging in every conversation, I chose the ones that truly mattered. Instead of reacting to every situation, I waited, observed, and then made one powerful move that shifted the dynamic. One carefully chosen sentence can do more than 10 minutes of babbling. One act of presence can influence an entire room. One yes to the right opportunity can change your life if you've preserved your energy long enough to seize it. So don't scatter yourself. Don't try to be everywhere for everyone. Study the terrain. Hold your fire. And when it's time, act with precision, because in a noisy world, clarity is power. Number 6, turn observations into leverage. For most of my life, I thought that being quiet in a room meant I was missing out. While others laughed the loudest, dominated conversations and grabbed attention, I sat back and watched. At first, it felt like I was invisible, but then I noticed something subtle, yet powerful. While they were talking, I was watching, listening, reading the room like a strategist before the war begins. And over time, I began to understand something that changed the game completely. Silence is not weakness, it's reconnaissance. When people speak freely, they reveal more than they know. Fears, insecurities, desires, blind spots. I started collecting mental notes, Patterns in the way people react under pressure, what makes them light up, what triggers their defensiveness, who they try to impress, who they secretly envy. This isn't manipulation, it's awareness. And in this world, awareness is leverage. The better you understand human behavior, the easier it becomes to predict it and to influence it, while others seek attention, seek understanding. Because when it's time to make a move, the one who's been quietly studying always strikes the sharpest. Number 7. Make quiet a brand, not a burden. There was a time when I'd say, sorry, I'm just shy, or I'm not really talkative, as if I needed to explain or apologize for not being loud. Society made me feel like being quiet was a flaw, something to fix. But one day, I stopped trying to explain myself. I realized quiet doesn't mean you have nothing to say. It means you don't waste words. So I flipped the script. I made quiet my brand. I started showing up with intention, not noise. My silence became a statement, not of insecurity, but of control. And something strange started to happen. People leaned in when I spoke. They listened more because they knew I didn't speak unless it mattered. They remembered what I said, not because I was loud, but because I was precise. You don't have to change who you are to be respected. You just have to own it. So don't see your quiet nature as a burden. Let it become your signature. A presence so calm, so composed, that it speaks volumes without needing to shout. Number 8, use thought rehearsal like a genius. You ever find yourself replaying moments in your head, things you wish you said, things you regret doing? I used to get stuck in that loop, but then I discovered something that completely redefined how I saw this overthinking tendency. I wasn't broken. I was mentally rehearsing. I just wasn't rehearsing the right things. So I made a shift. Instead of replaying regrets, I began pre-playing success. Before a big meeting, I'd close my eyes and visualize walking in calm, confident, and clear. Before a conversation that mattered, I'd mentally rehearse how I wanted to feel, grounded, sharp, composed. And here's the psychological kicker. The brain doesn't know the difference between real and vividly imagined. What you repeatedly picture in your mind becomes familiar, and what's familiar feels safe. So, when the moment came in real life, it didn't feel new or scary. It felt like something I'd already mastered. That's not wishful thinking. That's neurological training. Athletes do it. Performers do it. And now you can too. Use your mind like a weapon. Rehearse winning until it feels like second nature. Number 9, decode social chess quietly. In the social game, most people play like it's checkers, reacting impulsively, seeking validation, chasing short-term applause. But I realized early on that being quiet gave me a different kind of advantage. I could watch, I could decode. While others were consumed with being liked, I was learning the rules. Tone of voice, eye contact, power dynamics, posture shifts, micro expressions people don't even know they're showing. I started seeing conversations not just as words, but as games of positioning. Who's leading? Who's deflecting? Who's pretending to be confident, but is actually crumbling underneath? I realized that influence isn't about dominating the room. It's about understanding the underlying game. You don't need a loud voice to be dominant. You need strategy. So play like a chess master. Study people, not to manipulate, but to position yourself wisely. Understand the board, anticipate moves, control the tempo, because when others are chasing attention, you're quietly gaining control. Number 10, transmute emotional sensitivity into super empathy. I used to hate how easily I picked up on energy. Someone could walk into a room and I'd instantly feel off, even if they said nothing. I'd absorb moods, overanalyze interactions, and carry emotional weight like it was mine. For years I thought, maybe I'm just too sensitive. But then I reframed it. I realized, what if this wasn't a weakness, but a superpower? Being emotionally sensitive isn't about being fragile. It's about having an advanced radar, one that detects things others miss. That means you can sense discomfort in a conversation before it explodes. You can tell when someone's lying, even if their words sound perfect. You can walk into a room and instantly read the air, a skill that gives you an edge in leadership, negotiation, and influence. Once I stopped seeing it as a flaw and started training it like a skill, my whole world changed. I used that sensitivity to build trust fast, to diffuse tension, to lead with a kind of quiet authority that people feel but can't explain. So if you're emotionally tuned in, don't hide it, hone it. That's not weakness, that's emotional precision, and it's rare. Number 11, Build a silent empire. I used to think success needed a spotlight, that to be taken seriously, I had to broadcast every win, share every move, prove I was doing something important. But with time, I saw through that illusion. Real power doesn't advertise itself. It builds quietly. While others were chasing followers, I was building systems. While they posted about goals, I was executing them. While they waited for applause, I focused on results. I created projects, launched ideas, made money without noise, and by the time the world noticed, it was already done. Not a dream, not a pitch, proof. That's the power of building in silence. No distractions, no pressure to perform. Just you, your vision, and relentless execution. And when the time comes to reveal what you've built, they won't just hear about it, they'll feel it. So stop chasing visibility, start building legacy, because empires built in silence shake the world when they rise. Now you see it, don't you? Your introversion was never the problem. It was the untapped code, a blueprint for genius, power, and deep, quiet dominance. You were never meant to be average. You were just never taught how to use your own brain your way. So here's what I want from you. Comment below with "I am ready" if you're done playing small, if you're done hiding, if you're ready to flip the switch. And if this hit you hard, subscribe right now, because I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to unleash you. Let the loud ones have the spotlight. We'll take the power behind the scenes. The world is not ready for your quiet rise, but you are.